These are the ones who didn't wait for a seat at the table. The visionaries, the builders, the leaders who move fast and turn obstacles into opportunities. Stories of vision and resolve, of risk taken and limits broken. The grit, the courage, and the moments that changed everything. Welcome to the table.
Kaighla Rises, welcome to the table.
Thank you so much for having me.
For those who don't know you, can we start off with a little bit about you and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm a poet really at heart. That's kind of the fundamental core of me. I'm a philosopher. I've written memoir. I've written novels. Basically, if it's writing, I've done it and I'm passionate about it. And then, on the side, also, I'm a journalist. I'm a mother of 4. I'm getting married in October.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. I think that's who I am.
That sums it up. Okay, so we have a stack of books here, and I will show that on camera later. But Can we go through the stack of books and talk about the person behind each story, each memoir, the poetry books? What brought you to this point, and what do these books represent to you?
Yeah, so my most recent book is called Make Her Proud. It's a guide to healing your inner child and embracing your inner badass. I kind of learned the hard way through a long, arduous process that my inner artist is really my inner child. And if you feel like you have artist block or you're not really able to connect with your inner artist the way you want to, I think it's because you don't have a connection to your inner child. Your inner child is all about joy. She doesn't concern herself with the opinions of others. She doesn't ask herself whether what she's doing is wanted. She doesn't concern herself with, whether it's going to make money. She just does what gives her joy. And I think that we all children are creative by nature. And then school and our parents and society kind of like beat that out of us, one way or the other. So I encourage women to learn to reconnect with their inner child. And, for me, that was swimming. I asked myself, what is a thing I loved doing as a child that I just didn't do as an adult? And it was swimming. And it gives me so much joy. I don't even do it right. I'm really just doggy paddling through the water, but it's the only time that nobody can get me. I don't have my phone. Nobody can get my attention. It's just me and myself. And I have worked through so many plot issues and worked through so many life issues just swimming. And I think everyone has that. For some people it's drawing or painting or singing. And then your inner badass, my theory is this is all kind of loosely based on the internal family systems form of therapy. Mm-hmm. The inner badass is the one who is really the adult you. She is looking out for you. She knows what's best. And she, wants to protect all the parts of you. And so I argue that you can't really rely on your inner badass until you connect with your inner child, because the two are intimately connected.
That's such an interesting viewpoint. I've never heard it put that way.
Yeah.
I love that. So can we also talk about the book? It's called Ever in the Light. Ever in the Light. And this is a story that's based around a matriarchal society. Okay, what sparked that?
I have been an active participant in 2 major world religions, both of whom have been polluted by patriarchy, both of which rather. And I really wanted to see what would happen in a society where that centered women and children, because people have this idea that matriarchy is the opposite of patriarchy, where women are in charge and they make all the rules and so on. And I thought, no, what if it was a true matriarchy in the sense that it was about protecting women and children in the earth? And so my mother was dying at the time, and I had told myself that I had no capacity for writing fiction. I thought, I'm a poet, I'm a memoirist. Fiction, you just start pulling something out of the ether. What do you mean? I didn't think I had it in me. And then my mother was dying, and I started thinking about my relationship with her, and I started imagining a more empowered her. I thought, what would have happened if my mother had been empowered? And what would that have looked like for me? And that was kind of the basis of it. And then also I watched that movie Inglourious Bastards. Okay. And the character Hans. Have you seen the movie?
No, not yet.
Well, you have to. It's all about a group of Jewish American soldiers who go to France and they kill a bunch of Nazis. That's what it is. I think it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. But there's a main character in that movie, the main villain, Hans, is what I would describe as delightfully, joyfully evil. He's so evil in every way, but he's so delightful and joyful about it.
Yeah.
And so I had my villain in my mind and who I thought that was and what I thought they looked like. And yeah, really, it was on a deeper level. Okay. Ever in the Light is not just a story about a society that's being colonized and you know, having its culture and its way of life demonized and taken away. It's really about the ways that has happened to me in my own heart, the ways that I have allowed myself to be colonized by men, the way I've allowed myself to be colonized by viewpoints that I didn't even really want or have, and what that did to me and the ways that I tried to fight back.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to read it. There's a second book in that series as well, correct?
Yeah, so that one is going to be called Ksenia the Shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of, it explores the ways. So in the first book, the main character, Evren, had to find her own light. She had always lived in her mother's shadow because her mother was kind of the elected leader of the society. And Evren didn't want that. She really just wanted a simple life with her family. But she had to find her light in order to help save her people.
Mm-hmm.
While this character has to learn to embrace their shadow self, the parts of themselves that they'd rather not acknowledge are real, the parts that have been shamed into the shadows, and has to find their power that way.
You also write poetry. Is there a poem that you would be comfortable reading that you would want to share?
Absolutely. So my most recent poetry collection came out 2 years ago. So I have a lot of poetry since then. I'm gonna read a new one no one's ever heard.
Oh, yay. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, if people want to check out my poetry, I've got a poetry collection called Hallelujah, Damn It. That was my first one. Then I had Wellspring, my second one, and my most recent one was Love, Grieve, Repeat. So this one is a love poem that I wrote for my partner. This one is called Midnight Concerto. My lover makes music with strings and hollowed out things. He says the best music comes from instruments that have been played often enough to open themselves to him. Something in the wood remembers old caresses, softening beneath his fingertips, he says. And now I'm jealous of a violin. Player of symphonies, put your hands on me, and I'll sing you a song so sweet there's honey dripping down your chin.
I love that, especially the ending. Yeah. It's got chills.
Yeah. And then a more recent one I wrote. Okay, this one's called Fertile Soil, and it's for my children. I long to protect them, my fragile, courageous babies. First toddling, then running, then bounding on all fours toward the dimmest light a generation's ever gifted its offspring, by which to navigate the treacherous climbs of life's jungle. I bow to an ancient god, my mama heart humming in time with the rhythmic thrumming of their young hearts, beating against the cage that keeps them whole and unbroken. Like vines they pull ever upward, so I trust in the belly laugh of she who births all, and offer my iron spine for the trellis that will take them further from me, awaiting the time they return for comfort and fall safely into the familiar, fertile soil of my forest heart.
The line where you're trusting in the belly laugh, I love that so much. I'm gonna cry. That one was really good too.
Thank you.
You have a talent. You really do.
Oh, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Back to your stories and even your poetry. When people read your work, what do you want them to understand about maybe power dynamics and maybe even leadership in the world? What do you want them to understand or see?
You have all the power you'll ever need inside you. And the only authority that you have to recognize is your own. At the end of the day, that's what I've learned is all the ways I abandoned myself in the hopes that somebody would save me, choose me, love me, rescue me. I didn't have to do any of that. The more that I align with my true self and the more that we as people align with our true selves, the more the opportunities and the people and the love that you really need will find you. And saying yes is saying no to everything else.
Yeah.
The more you say yes to things that don't align with you, the more you're delaying your own joy.
That's so true. I had a similar experience at the point where I let everything that I was holding on to go is when everything fell into alignment for me, you know? It's very interesting how the universe works and all of that.
It's a very lonely middle time.
It is. It's extremely lonely.
So lonely. I remember when my mom died, all of my fucks just burnt up. I just could not. I couldn't tolerate the slightest abuse or anything from anyone. I quit jobs. I burned bridges with old friends that were, toxic. Like, that was so lonely. And I'm so glad I put myself through that, because now I only have friends that truly want the best for me. And I have the most incredible, loving partner who loves me precisely as I am. And I'm living every day in alignment with who I really want to be. And I don't mean to make that sound romantic or glamorous. It sucks. A lot of the times it fucking sucks.
It really sucks.
You bleed and you cry, and it's hard. It's so hard, but it's so worth it. And I feel like you're going to suffer anyway. At least why not suffer in on the path that fits you?
Yeah. Suffer for a reason.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the next question. In the stories that you have, what characters naturally rise to power?
The ones who don't want it.
Do you think that the people who don't want power should be those leaders?
Of course.
Okay, tell me why. 'Cause I also believe that.
Yeah. Because power corrupts.
Yeah.
And I think that if what you're seeking is power, it's your ego that's at the helm.
Interesting.
100% it's your ego. Now, if you are seeking to serve, that's another story altogether. If for example, for the Vermilion Times, the nonprofit news agency that I run, along with my business partner, Drew Landis, I was reading some answers that some recent, I think it was people who were running for senator in the state of Illinois. And one of them had made said something that really hit me. They said something like, I'm the only candidate who has committed to a 2-term. That's it. 2-term. Like, I'm not going to allow myself to be in power longer than 2 terms. And I thought, golly, I mean, that's, and I don't know anything about that particular candidate, but, just this idea that it's the characters and the people who really would rather not that are the ones that are really going to make all the difference, because they do it out of love. They do it out of commitment to their family, to their community. They don't do it for, kudos.
Right. So when you're building an entirely new world, what are the first things that you put together? Is it the characters? Is it the world building? Where do you start?
So in my family, I don't know if it's because we're all neurodivergent or I don't know what it is, but we are all very descriptive when we tell stories. I was just listening to my brother tell my kids a story the other day, and it was, I was wearing a blue shirt and it was cold out, but not too cold. Like, he went into so much detail.
Yeah.
And that's what people tell me about my books, that they feel like they're in it. And so I don't know if that's just how my brain works, but when I'm imagining everything I see when I'm writing a book, I see it as a movie in my head. Like, I've already seen the Everin movie in theaters in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer, as Elizabeth Gilbert has said, and some others have said, that, the story exists in the ether. It's already there.
Yeah.
If you're going to be the one to tell the story, do it. But if you don't do it, when a story comes to you and you decide not to tell that story, it's going to find someone else to tell it. The story is going to happen anyway. So I don't think that I concocted this story. I think the story was, and I was just a willing vessel to tell the story.
I've never heard of it put that way. I got chills again.
You have to read the book Big Magic.
Big Magic. I'm going to make a note. What was the author?
Elizabeth Gilbert. So yeah, I start with the setting, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So for someone who is just discovering you as an author, what are they stepping into as far as your writing style, your philosophy?
I'm not good at small talk. I'm not good at beating around the bush. I really just get straight to the point. So, my poetry, for example, is not flowery.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to find big words. I'm just trying to find the word that makes the most sense. And so I think when people read my writing, first of all, I hope that they feel like they're not alone. I have a theory that, shame and isolation are really just killing us. And the more we tell ourselves, there's no one like me, I'm dealing with this unique pain or this unique fear, it's a lie. And so my goal in writing has always been to let people know they're all alone. My first, my memoir, Things That Shatter, is the true story of my life. I was married to a really abusive guy. I lived in a village in Egypt. And that colored the rest of my life.
Mhm.
I'm still coping with the symptoms from what happened to me there. And I wrote that story in a very raw way. Like, this is what happened. A lot of it came directly from my diary entries from the time, you know what I mean? So it's raw. It's very raw and real and in your face. And so I think that people who are not comfortable with their own emotions will not enjoy my writing, because it forces you to look in the mirror, and see yourself for the beautiful creature that you are.
Yeah.
And not everyone's ready for that.
That's true. That's true. So you would describe your writing as raw and real.
Forces you to introspect.
Yeah, introspective. I love
Mhm.
that. Can we also talk about how you define success? I ask everybody on the show, and everyone has such a different viewpoint, and I love it so much. So, how do you define success in a way that other people might disagree with?
I think that success, I would feel that my life had been a success if there are people who say, that their life was made better by knowing me,
Mm-hmm.
that they felt empowered, that they felt connected to one another,
Mm-hmm.
they felt seen, and most especially my children. I think that I never wanted to be a mom.
Really?
Actively didn't want to be a mom.
Mm-hmm.
I told everyone I wasn't going to have any kids, and then I had 4. And I think ultimately, the older I get, I'll be 40 this year, the older I get, the more I think that the way that I make my children feel is the most important legacy. I tell them all the time, you guys are more important than my books. You're more important than the Vermilion Times. I think that's my answer. I want to ensure that I make people feel safe and seen and heard and loved, and most of all, empowered with their own power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard it said that it's not what you do that's remembered, it's how you make people feel.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And that's genuinely what I hope. And I hope that people carry it forward. My genuine hope is that everyone, especially women, I'm talking especially to women, like, we are so conditioned by society to look for our salvation elsewhere, whether it's in, a partner or a job, or, you know what I mean? Like, even in motherhood, we're trained to think there has to be something you do outside of you that, is going to validate that. And I'm like anybody else. I need validation too. I'm not perfect in any way. But the older I get, the more I see that that is all just a big scam. And it's all connected. Patriarchy and capitalism and consumerism and misogyny, it's all at this one same root. And the root is, you don't have power. We know better than you. I know better than you. I remember saying to a friend who asked me, why did I ultimately leave Islam and really leave religion, organized religion? And I said, it's because I've come to understand that there is no spiritual authority that I recognize. Said, well, if this is the way that so-and-so connected with God, maybe if I do the same thing and say the same thing, I'll connect with God too. That is cowardly, uncreative.
It is.
And if we learn to connect with ourselves, that's where you connect with God. Have you seen Inside Out, the cartoon?
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when they're like going on the escalator and there's like this big ball of light, that ball of light is God.
Okay.
In my worldview, right? So all of us are carrying this portion of God, this light that has been shaped by 1,000 different experiences. And, I would agree with Alan Watts, for example, who said, something along the lines of, we are the universe experiencing itself.
Yes.
And we have all these different facets of experience. And I think that now when I think of God, I think of us. The trees have God in them, and you and I have God in them, and my children have God in them. And I think that religion is a very clever and terribly hollow alternative or substitute for a real connection with the divine, which is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying when you face the divine.
Yeah.
It is a mirror of the most, polished caliber, and you can't escape it.
No.
And that doesn't have to be, doesn't have to be a horrifying thing or something we run from. It's something we have to lean into.
Yeah.
And everything you want, all of the things you want are on the other side of that decision to lean in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, following up on that, can we talk about how a lot of people actually use church and religion as a way to find community?
Absolutely. To be so honest, I think that church and religion in general is excellent for finding community. My family and I are members of the Unitarian Universalist Church in Urbana-Champaign,
Mm-hmm.
which is not a religion at all. It's people of all religions coming together to talk about community and to talk about taking care of each other and about justice
Mm-hmm.
and standing up for what's right. It's beautiful. And it's like the good, warm glow feeling you get from church without all of the shame and sin and like judgment that you get, right?
Yeah.
I think that religion is extremely effective for community building. Religion is something that, religion helps you see people who look nothing like you and have come from a completely different way of life as your family.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's very powerful. What I'm saying, though, is the only way for us to have healthy communities is if we all have an individual experience of God that doesn't have any rules attached, that doesn't have any expectations or demands. Only you know God in the way you can know God. And then if we all trust each other and come together in community with this shared commitment of like, let's not be shit people. Can we just please agree to not hurt other people and
How
like
hard is that? Yeah.
to ourselves and to the earth and like,
Mm-hmm.
and let's all agree that the children are the most important thing. Like
They are.
can they all just please do that?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, religion and church is a very important method of joining people together. And I believe that the more you connect with yourself and connect with the divine, the easier it is to connect with other people
Mm-hmm.
that are your people.
Yeah, I agree. There's this new term. Well, it's not new. It's been going around for a few years, but it's called the third place, where people are essentially trying to replace like their church community with going to another place. Have you heard of that?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So the first time I heard that actually was during COVID.
Yeah.
When Matt Goat, who, Drew, my business partner, his family and his wife's family own Matt Goat.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, they were advising us, stay home. And then Matt Goat made a decision at that point to open. Once, it wasn't like, I don't think it was ever illegal to do so, but once some things were lifted,
Yeah.
they went ahead and opened. And that was the reasoning that they gave, was that people need a third place. They need a place that's not work and it's not home.
Mm.
And you don't have any of those responsibilities, that you have in those other places, an opportunity to connect.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Sorry, I rabbit trailed quite a bit there.
I love rabbit trailing. It's my favorite thing.
Is there anything else that you wanted to tell the audience about your books or your work or anything else before we wrap up?
I am at a stage in life where I am feeling more and more like I need to be doing things like this. I want to use my voice more. I think I've been writing. I'll never stop writing, to be clear. But I think that I'm moving to a place where I really want to start teaching. I really want to start empowering through my words directly, whether that means on stages or whether that means in podcasts. I'm coming to a point where I crave the connection you get with an audience. Whereas with a book, I was telling a friend, writing a book is like having a baby and no one even cares. You know what I mean? It's like you carry this baby and you give birth to this baby, and like one or two people maybe that are close friends are like, oh my God, congratulations. And they like come and see the baby. But then everybody else in the world, you're like walking around carrying this baby and people are just ignoring that you even have a baby. And you know what I mean? Like it's disheartening in some ways. And that's just how I feel. But so I don't know. I don't know what the future looks like for me as an artist, but I can guarantee that whatever I put out there will be honest and it will be true to myself.
Yeah.
And the goal of it will ultimately be, modeling or encouraging people to empower themselves. All of the horrible trauma most of the horrible trauma I have experienced came about because I didn't know how to empower myself.
Would you be interested in teaching workshops?
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like I would enjoy watching you on a panel as well.
I would love that. I've done that previously. Yeah, absolutely I would.
Okay.
Right now, the issue is like, how do I narrow it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't have a class that's like all the things I've learned.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
I've got to find a way to narrow it down.
Yeah. Find a niche or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that's all I have. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Oh, of course.
I appreciate you.
Inviting me. I really appreciate it.